Looking smart, Seaside. We're about to begin. I must apologize. Can we get the name checks in, please? Who won the toss? Who is proposing the moot?
You, please. Johnny, Captain, we are, Johnny.
I'm sorry, I soon get a haircut here.
Johnny.
Where's the young lady who was on Woburn's team? Where is your female speaker, miss?
Tell her that she's coming.
She's
Okay.
coming.
All right. You better do well, young man. Seaside, can we see your team, please, and then some quick introductions? I'm about to go front and center on the screen, but I'm not the most attractive. So we're going to put Seaside front and center first. Seaside, you're front and center. Watch our laugh after me. The first speaker. And you must learn camera etiquette and mic etiquette enough. When I talk out of turn, I know that I'm talking out of turn. You mustn't talk out of turn. You hear? So we'll do some introductions. Who is proposing?
We are.
That's who said we?
Woburn non-primary.
Woburn non-primary.
Woburn, you are proposing the wonderful moot, and I say wonderful moot because it is a moot that comes from the Parents Alliance Jamaica's platform. And the moot says, the House believes that social media platforms should be held legally accountable for cyberbullying occurring on their platforms, with penalties for failure to promptly remove offensive content. And you must understand the root and history of that wonderful moot. I'm going to repeat the moot again, front and center. And I believe Woburn is proposing the moot. So we're going to switch our cameras to Woburn lawn. But let's go to me first so I can repeat the moot. So I'll go to me first and I'll repeat the moot. And then we'll switch our cameras. Seaside, Woburn, the other people who you want to watch, have them watch the debate on our YouTube link, please. You hear? Have them watch the debate on our YouTube link. So we're going to probably fill up the group here. Our judge this afternoon, because both of us will be judging, but you know we have one speaker. So our speaker this afternoon is Mr. Romain Gardner. We'll put Mr. Gardner front and center so that you can see him. Mr. Gardner is an IR expert, international relations, that is. And Mr. Gardner is one of Parents Alliance's more helpful members. And his business is we're looking forward to sponsorship from his business for our debate. It's a US-based company. And so Mr. Gardner is US-based and CThink Global is global. Mr. Gardner is Jamaican by birth and heritage. And so we're excited to have you as a part of our judges panel. Another judge may join us if the judge gets online before. We'll add that input too. But otherwise, the match remains legal because I can judge and so can Mr. Gardner. So once there are no issues with that, we'll proceed. Do you want to speak to the teams, Mr. Gardner, or shall you hear an introduction from them first? We'll get an introduction first, shall we? Yes, that was a nod of confirmation. So we'll go to the proponents of the moot. I'll swing to me so that I can tell whoever is watching what the moot is. Get ready for some of the people might fray. When ugly Orek go on screen. Okay, so good afternoon. The CThink debate competition this afternoon is between two of our top performing primary schools. And you must forgive the mock-up. We've not quite had a barber visit yet. But Seaside Primary faces Woburn Lawn Primary and Infant School. And the moot, boy, I tell you, the moot is something that is of serious concern to both of our sponsors, Parents Alliance Jamaica and Wake Up Jamaica. The moot. The House believes that social media platforms should be held legally accountable for cyberbullying occurring on their platforms, with penalties for failure to promptly remove offensive content. I know that the end of the moot can be excessive, And so we'll be looking at well, I'm sure teams are aware that the fulcrum of the moot lies in the first part of the moot. This House believes that social media platforms should be held legally accountable for cyberbullying occurring on their platforms. Proposing the moot, Woburn Lawn Primary and Infant School, and opposing the moot, Seaside Primary. Both schools are from the east, so it should be an exciting matchup. Let us hear your team, Woburn Lawn. Your introductions, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Marshall. I am in grade 6 and I am the head boy of Woburn Primary Infant School. Good afternoon. My name is Ajani Walker and I am in grade 6 and I am the prefect of Woburn Primary Infant School.
Good afternoon. I am Rashan Sibu and I am in grade 6 and I am a prefect of the Woburn Primary and Infant School.
Excellent. Welcome. I don't know whether Mr. Gardner got the names, and so we're going to ensure that he did. Mr. Gardner, did you get the names? Or shall we have them? Okay, we're going to ask the teams to repeat the names. Just give us a few.
My name is Daniel Marshall. My name is Ajani Walker.
My name is Rashan Sibu.
Afternoon, team. Nice to meet you guys. Can we move on to the next team for introduction?
I apologize, I was muted. So we've got the names, the key names. Daniel Marshall, Johnny Walker, Rashan Sybil, and now we're going to Seaside Primary. Please introduce yourself, Seaside.
Good afternoon. I'm Danae Jones, the Deputy Head Girl of Seaside Primary School. Good afternoon. I'm Danae Wilson. I'm in grade 5 and I'm a prefect of Seaside Primary School.
I'm sorry, we were not seeing the speaker, and maybe you have two devices open, Seaside, because we're getting a feedback. So there may be another device logged into the room or someone watching live on YouTube near you that is giving us a feedback. So you want that device to be a little bit further away or turned down. And we're only seeing two of you on the screen. So we didn't see the first speaker, the first person who spoke. That person was not being seen. That person still isn't being seen. We're only seeing the two, or I am only seeing. Let me have a look at YouTube and see what our YouTube viewers are seeing. But I am only seeing the second two speakers. So I don't know if you want to try and sit differently. I don't know.
Good afternoon. My name is Danae Jones and I'm the Deputy Head Girl of Seaside Primary School.
Good afternoon. I'm a prefect of Seaside Primary and the second speaker.
Good afternoon. I'm Kiana Howell. I'm from Seaside School. I'm a prefect.
Seaside, you're muted. And if you can give us the names again, my profuse apologies, you sort of rushed it through.
Good afternoon. My name is Danae Jones and I'm a part of the Seaside Primary School debate team and I'm in grade 5.
Good afternoon. I'm Daniel Wilson and I'm in grade 5 and I'm a prefect of Seaside Primary School.
Good afternoon. I'm Kiana Howell and I'm the third speaker.
Danae Jones, Danae Wilson, and Shayna Howell. Did you get those names?
Kiana Howell.
Tiana.
Sorry, Tiana Howell.
Kiana Howell.
Oh, Kiana. So Danae Jones, Danae Wilson, and Kiana Howell. Okay, so the judge has the names. I must tell you, I am already familiar with two of you. So the aim was for the judges to get the name. I'm very familiar with the one who loved laughing after me. So we're going to get started. Woburn Lawn, your first minutes begin now. I'll remind you of our format. Woburn Lawn, you get 3 minutes to lay your arguments, 3 minutes to back up those arguments, 4 minutes to throw questions and to take questions, and 2 minutes to wrap up. Your first 3 minutes begins now.
Honorable judges, fellow debaters, and esteemed opponents, today we stand in affirmation of the motion that social media platforms should be held legally accountable for cyberbullying occurring on their platforms, with penalties for failure to promptly remove offensive content. Firstly, it is crucial to define the terms of this motion. Social media platforms encompass widely used platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and others where individuals engage in online communication and sharing. Cyberbullying refers to the use of electronic communication to bully or harass someone, typically through threatening messages or harmful comments. Legal accountability implies that these platforms are responsible under the law for ensuring a safe online environment, with penalties in place if they fail to promptly remove offensive content. In today's digital age, social media plays an integral role in our lives, especially for young people. However, it has also become a breeding ground for cyberbullying, causing significant harm to individuals' mental health and well-being. Holding social media platforms legally accountable sends a clear message that the safety of users must be prioritized. By imposing penalties for failing to remove offensive content promptly, we incentivize platforms to implement stricter moderation policies and quicker response times. This proactive approach is necessary to prevent the escalation of cyberbullying incidents and mitigate their harmful effects. In conclusion, the duty of social media platforms extends beyond mere facilitation of communication. They must ensure a safe and respectful online environment for all users. Legal accountability with penalties for non-compliance is essential to protect individuals from the detrimental impacts of cyberbullying. For these reasons, we urge you to support today's motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, first speaker Woburn Lawn, just under 3 minutes, so well within time, I would say. First speaker Seaside, it is your turn.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected opponents, good afternoon. Today, we stand to oppose the motion. This House believes that social media platforms should be held legally accountable for cyberbullying occurring on their platforms, with penalties for failure to promptly remove offensive content. First and foremost, we must consider the principle of free speech. Social media platforms provide a space for individuals to express themselves and share their thoughts openly. Holding these platforms legally accountable for the actions of users could lead to over censorship, and a chilling effect on free speech. The fear of legal repercussions might compel platforms to overregulate content, stifling legitimate expression and healthy debate. Secondly, let us address the practical challenges. The sheer volume of content posted on social media platforms every second makes it nearly impossible to monitor and moderate all interactions in real time. Expecting platforms to promptly remove offensive content places an unrealistic burden on them and fails to account for all the complexity and nuances of human communication. Moreover, consider the issue of liability. Holding platforms legally accountable for user-generated content sets a dangerous precedent. It shifts responsibility from the individual perpetrator of cyberbullying to the platform itself. This not only absolves bullies of personal accountability, but also unfairly penalizes companies for actions beyond their control. Additionally, think about the potential for abuse. Imposing legal penalties could lead to misuse of the reporting systems, where individuals may falsely report content to harm or silence dissenting voices. This can create an environment where people are incentivized to weaponize the platform's moderation tools against each other, intensifying the very issues we seek to resolve my opponents. Finally, consider the economic impact. Imposing legal liabilities and penalties on social media companies could have significant economic repercussions. Smaller platforms, in particular, may struggle to comply with stringent regulations, leading to decreased innovation and competition in the tech industry. And this is what we don't want, my opponents. This could ultimately harm consumers by reducing the variety and quality of online services away. While the intention beyond holding social media platforms accountable for cyberbullying is known, it overlooks critical issues of free speech, practicality, liability, potential for abuse, and economic consequences. We must seek alternative solutions that address cyberbullying without undermining the fundamental principles that make social media a vibrant and open space for communication.
Thank you very much, first speaker Seaside. Well, excellent use of time as well. If you give the judges a few minutes, we'll get right back. In the meantime, Woburn Lawn, your second speaker, please prepare. My apologies. We're ready to begin. The second speaker, I'm sorry, Woburn Lawn, your 3 minutes begins now.
Honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen, Building upon the points raised by my colleague, I would like to emphasize the practical benefits of holding social media platforms legally accountable for cyberbullying. Firstly, effective moderation and prompt removal of offensive content are essential to safeguarding users, especially young people who are particularly vulnerable to cyberbullying. Research indicates that cyberbullying can lead to anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts among victims. By imposing penalties for failure to act swiftly, we create a strong deterrent against such harmful behavior. Furthermore, legal accountability encourages social media platforms to invest in better technological solutions and human resources for content moderation. This investment not only enhances user safety, but also promotes responsible digital citizenship among all users. Moreover, accountability fosters transparency in how platforms handle cyberbullying incidents. It builds trust among users and authorities, ensuring that perpetrators are held accountable and victims receive the support they need. In conclusion, the benefits of holding social media platforms legally accountable for cyberbullying are clear. It promotes a safer online environment, deters harmful behavior, and ensures that victims receive adequate protection and support. We urge you to stand with us in support of this motion for the well-being of all users. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Woburn Lawn, well within time. Another good presentation. Seaside Primary, your presentation begins now.
Ladies and gentlemen, judges, and esteemed opponents, I will further elaborate on why we oppose holding social media platforms legally accountable for cyberbullying. Firstly, let's delve into the complexities of content moderation. Social media platforms host billions of users, each contributing diverse content across various contexts and languages. Automating the detection of offensive content is challenging due to the nature of human interaction. Algorithms can miss context, sarcasm, or cultural difference, leading to both over-censorship and under-censorship. Secondly, we must consider the excessive impact on smaller platforms. Larger companies like Facebook and Twitter might afford the legal and financial resources to comply with stringent regulations. However, smaller platforms and startups could be forced out of the market, stifling innovation and reducing competition. This could consolidate power in the hands of a few tech giants, limiting consumer choice and diversity in social media. Furthermore, we need to address the issue of global jurisdiction. Social media platforms operate internationally with users from different legal jurisdictions. Holding these platforms accountable for content posted by users across the globe creates legal complications. What may be considered offensive or illegal in one country might not be viewed the same way in another, leading to an inconsistent enforcement and potential conflicts with international law. Additionally, let's consider the issue of personal responsibility. Cyberbullying is fundamental a society issue that reflects broader society behavior. It is unreasonable to expect the platforms to bear sole responsibility for addressing these behavior. Individuals must be held accountable for their actions. Moreover, think about the practicality implementing enforcement. Determine what constitutes offensive context can be held subjectively and context dependent. Legal framework would need to be incredibly detailed to cover the vast spectrum of interactions online, making enforcement cumbrous and open to interpretation. This could lead to arbitrary inconsistent application of rules, undermining trust in the platforms and legal systems. In summary, holding social media platforms legally accountable for cyberbullying fails to address the complexities of content moderation, disappropriately impacts smaller companies, complicates international jurisdiction, neglects personal responsibility, and creates impractical enforcement challenges. We need more balanced and effective approaches to tackling cyberbullying that do not compromise the fundamental freedoms and operational viability of social platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seaside. Your second speaker was right within time as well. Give the judges another 2 minutes. You know the routine by now. Whips, get ready. Okay, and I must apologize for the long time that the judges deliberated. Mr. Gardner has not judged a lot of debates yet, and so it's important that we get all the criteria organized. Woburn Lawn, who is your whip?
How do you propose
Where's the whip? Woburn, come on, what a whip.
Johnny Walker.
Mr. Walters or Walker?
Walker.
Walker, you're the whip. Okay. Get ready, sir. Of course, you know you're going to be facing your opponents. Go ahead.
How do you propose balancing the legal accountability on social media platforms for cyberbullying with the protection of free speech and the rights of users to express themselves online?
Can please
I heard the question clearly. It means that when Woburn Lawn repeats, we will penalize you, Seaside, with the time. Go ahead and repeat.
But we're not hearing the question.
Propose balancing the accountability platforms for cyberbullying with the protection.
Well, Woburn Lawn, you need to start again. Someone was muting and unmuting the device. So you can remain unmuted for the question and answer on. In fact, the device should not be muted at all during this round. So both schools, please open the device so that we can hear if the teacher's giving any ideas in the background. Yes, yes, and
excuse me?
and now Woburn Lawn, go ahead and field your question. We're still removing the 30 seconds from Seaside. Woburn, you have your 4 minutes. Go ahead.
How do you propose balancing the legal accountability of social media platforms for cyberbullying with the protection of free speech and the rights of users to express themselves online?
How do you propose? Why you opposing that? If you tell them why you oppose.
Miss at Seaside, could you allow the team to deliberate and respond, please? How do you propose balancing it, Seaside?
When you talk, it is very clear, but we can't hear what Woburn is saying clearly.
Yes, but so they can ask me to repeat the question, ma'am. I will repeat the question. So if there's not clarity, I'll repeat the question. So you're being asked to balance. I don't know why you're being asked. So that's probably one. It's up to you whether you take a question or not. And it's up to you how you choose to answer that question, Seaside.
Repeat the question.
Repeat the question one more time, Woburn Lawn.
No, I want you to say it because it's more clear.
Sir, can you say the question, please? Because we're not hearing when they're talking.
I'm surprised you're not hearing, and it's one device. You'll need to hear when they reply, but they're asking how you propose balancing the rights between well, no, the question is out of my head. Repeat the question, please, Woburn.
How do you propose balancing the legal accountability of social media platforms for cyberbullying with the protection of free speech and the rights of users to express themselves online?
Well, you're the opponent, but they're asking you how you propose something. So I mean, you can take the question as you like to. So the question is, how do you propose balancing the legal requirement for businesses to have this duty to oversee cyberbullying and the rights of people to have their free speech?
Pass. Pass.
What specific measures do you believe social media platforms should implement to promptly identify and remove offensive content? And how do you address the potential challenges and limitations of these measures?
All right, sir, you can repeat that, please.
Woburn Lawn, repeat the question.
What
I think the question was clear.
Social media
No,
platforms.
sir, because they're very glitchy. We can't hear them.
But I think once I can hear them, you should be able to hear them. So speak a bit louder, Woburn Lawn. I'm not going to be interpreting any more questions. But speak a bit louder, Woburn Lawn, and your time is quickly expiring.
What specific measures do you believe social media platforms should implement to promptly identify and remove offensive content? And how do you address the potential challenges and limitations of these measures?
Sir, we can't answer the question.
So we were asking
We
if
cannot
you could
answer the
repeat
question if we cannot
question.
hear him. So we was gonna
But
ask
I
if-
disagree that you cannot hear. You should listen, because if I can hear him, where is the internet, young lady? We're not in a room. So he's not at the back of the room and me at the front. We all have access to the same internet. So we're all hearing. So just listen carefully.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis.
Excuse me,
Good
sir.
afternoon. I think that maybe your device capability might be a little bit better than theirs, but I am using my car stereo and it is bucked in order to hear Woburn Lawn. It is very low. So I believe they're using Chromebooks, which don't carry big speakers.
Okay. Woburn Lawn, try to increase your volume, please. I'll and your question, if the question, your question to the opponents places the debate, well, I can't make that comment yet, but go ahead with your question again.
What specific measures do you believe social media platforms should implement to promptly identify and remove offensive content? And how do you address the potential challenges and limitations of these measures?
So Woburn is asking for specific measures. What specific measures could be introduced to identify offensive content, and how you can go about addressing them?
Oh, what specific measures could be used to identify?
Seaside, you're really taking up a lot of time. You should be answering the question. It's not a... And it would be a shame if you lose the debate of the question answer round.
I don't know. What country? You feel like an answer.
Who's answering?
Who's answering? AI?
Tell them about which country.
And different countries have different laws. The AI will figure out. And different countries has different laws.
Okay, I think that that wraps up the Woburn Lawns 4 minutes. We really can't go over that. And you didn't interject, Woburn. Did you have another prepared question?
Yes.
Although I don't agree with the prepared questions, miss. But do you have another prepared question, Woburn Lawn?
Yes.
We have one more. You to go ahead and field the question, given the time confusions that we have.
In cases where cyberbullying is not promptly removed, what types and scales of penalties do you consider appropriate for social media platforms, and how would you ensure these penalties effectively deter the platforms with not stifling innovation?
Okay, that's too long. I'll say what you've said so far. If you don't agree with the moot, which I think you're the opponent say you wouldn't, then what do you suggest becomes an alternative to prevent the cyberbullying from taking place? I think that was the question. Have I interpreted it correctly, Woburn Lawn?
Yes.
Okay, well, what measures do you suggest? How could it be addressed? I think is what they're asking.
Penalizing the persons and not the platforms.
Penalizing the person and not the
Any reply? The response was to penalize the person and not and not the platform. Any reply, Woburn Lawn?
Yes, yes, sir. We use policies and guidelines.
We would what?
repeat.
We use policies and guidelines.
Policies and guidelines. Explain that, please.
Your turn, Seaside. Your 4 minutes begins now. Who is the whip? Seaside, who is your whip?
Your speech.
Seaside, time is going against us. Who is your whip? Seaside?
They look frozen, sir. We're having heavy rains over this side. I am wondering if the internet chipped out.
I think we can hear them, but you're right, they're frozen. I'm hoping that the video will unfreeze.
We have heavy rain and winds too.
Yes, and it's windy here and raining a bit. So it looks like it's a all island thing. I hope you'll get home safely. You're one of the teams. Both these teams in the East are teams that I can tell you we'll be looking out for your school and for you. I hope you did well in the PEP. Who passed? What you passed for? What you passed for, young man? Which school you passed for? Which school you passed for? Or where will you be attending? I think I should probably be asking. Mr. Sybil.
I'm a chancellor, and I will be attending Mart Bay High.
Oh, Morant Bay, that's not bad.
I'll be attending Excelsior High School.
Oh, Haggy, that's good.
I'm the neuromarshal, and I will be attending Mart Bay High School.
That's good. So you're going all the way to town.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Mills is a Excelsior old lady, miss. So you should have a word with her, ask if you know anybody that can help her. She's one of the judges, Mrs. Austin Mills.
No problem, sir.
And she absolutely stays tied to her school. Okay, Seaside is back. Seaside, who is your whip?
Me and Howell.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am. Oh, sorry, Miss Mackenzie. We'll wait until you get them. Thank you, miss. Can they hear clearer with this device? Miss Mackenzie?
We are hearing you clearly, but we have a problem here in Woburn Primary.
Okay, I think we're ready. Go ahead, Seaside, it's your turn.
How do you ensure that holding platforms legally accountable will lead to better protection for victims of cyberbullying and not just create organizational burden?
Please repeat. Repeat, please.
How do you ensure that holding platforms legally accountable will lead to better protection for victims of cyberbullying and not just create organizational burden?
When we hold, um, one second. When we hold social media platforms legally accountable, we are ensuring them to upgrade their policies, rules, guidelines, and penalties.
How
Seaside,
do
are you
you how do
responding to
you
that or just going to your, are you responding to that or going to your next question? Time is against us. Don't give us these
my
gaps.
next
Either respond or go to your next
my next
question.
my next question? How do you address the concern that holding platforms legally accountable might lead to excessive censorship and the stifling of free expression?
Please repeat.
How do you address the concern that holding platforms legally accountable might lead to excessive censorship and the stifling of free expression?
Before accessing the platform, we all read the rules and guidelines to make sure that it is fit to our standard, and then we can agree or disagree.
Repeat your, repeat your answer.
Before accessing an app, you should read the, before you access a platform, you should read the rules and guidelines to see if they fit to your standard. Then you can agree or disagree.
Seaside device start giving trouble just when the question answer round getting somewhere. I felt like we're finally getting somewhere with this question and answer round. And Seaside's device started to give trouble. And we're finally getting an understanding or a sign that the teams do understand the mode. The minute you make the mistake, first speaker of switching platform to app, gave me an idea that you totally understood what we're here talking about. Miss Mackenzie, your device have much better connection than the young people owning. But okay. The young people are not online, so we'll please give them another minute to join, and then we can wrap up. I know that we've been waiting for a while. It's now 1, so we really need to wrap up. So we'll give them another minute to join, and then we'll wrap up. Seaside, another minute to sort out your device. You're not on camera. Although this looks like the wrapping up of the question answer segment. It is so unfortunate that we've had connectivity issues. These are two good teams. I think that if they could have heard each other clearly during the question and answer segment, we'd have gotten a much better exchange. I wish I could comment on some of the question and answers and some of the things that took place in the debate now, but I can't. It's been a good debate though. And I'm eager to comment on some of the things that were said. But I can't comment until Seaside has it say. Seaside, are you back yet? Seaside? Oh dear, that's so unfortunate. There are connectivity issues clearly. I mean, we can judge the debate from what we've seen and heard. Only the summaries really need to come in. If Woburn doesn't object to that, we'd probably want to do that. Although I would want to hear Woburn Lawn's summary.
We don't hear clearly what the suggestion is. We don't hear clearly what the suggestion is.
No, I'm suggesting that we close is this Seaside back? No, they're not back. I'm suggesting that we end the question answer round because I think we've gotten enough. We've seen enough. Yes, Mr. Lewis, go ahead.
They just called me to.
You broke up, sir.
A while ago, so they're trying to reboot to get.
Okay, so Seaside is rebooting. Seaside is rebooting. You wouldn't know where your team will be heading, Mr.
They just
Lewis.
told me that the electricity at school went up.
Okay, understood.
You know,
We gathered that. I'm asking whether you could share with us where your 3 students are heading to.
You mean in terms of PEP results?
Yes.
They're all grade 5 students.
Oh, they're grade 5 students.
Yes, they have another year of primary school.
Okay, that's I hope we see at least one.
Only one girl that was on the team, but she's not at school today. Akila Williamson. I don't know if you remember her. She was
Yeah,
best
man,
speaker the last match.
I remember her.
Yes.
Sure.
She's going to Happy Grove High, my alma mater.
Happy Grove?
Hi, yes.
Well, we'll try. Well, we have to try and see if we can follow up our debaters. So
Most definitely.
we need to chase up Happy Grove. We want a team from Happy Grove next year. I want to make sure that our young lady settles in well there.
Most definitely.
Is one of the better rural schools a good pass? In my view, you would know the sector better than I. Okay, we're waiting, just to remind you, Woburn, we're waiting on Seaside to reboot their device so that they can close the question answer round and so that they can hear your summary.
Yes, sir. We're waiting on the comments to help us to move forward.
Woburn, you mustn't feel in any way about the results of today's debate. You've been doing well in the competition. And I'm sure you're in for prizes either way. You're one of our better performing schools. You put it that way. Your teachers are excellent. So a lot of the credit goes to them.
Okay, sir.
But who say obviously? Because you're so right. I never obviously say. It's a shame we can't. Okay, they're back. It's a shame we can't comment on the debate while we're in the middle of the match. But I have a bit to say. We'll put it that way. Seaside, welcome back. I believe you're about to comment on something that Woburn Lawn had said in that question answer round. It was a question about ensuring that what was it about apps, or you said apps. It wasn't apps. It's platforms. Well, it's the same thing. It's platforms. Woburn had spoken to ensuring that persons know what the rules and guidelines are of a platform when they sign up, suggesting that the free speech is not affected because people are free to choose whether to sign up or not, I think was the message there. So Seaside, I think that's where we're hopping off. Is that correct? Am I right, Woburn?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, so Seaside, you were to either comment on that or field a final question, I believe. Go ahead, Seaside.
All Here is my final question. How do you propose to deal with the vast amount of content on these platforms in a way that makes legal accountability for cyberbullying feasible and manageable?
How do you propose handling all the information that comes in a way that makes it feasible, possible, and manageable?
Every platform has a specific measurement and rules. Management.
Could you repeat that for my benefit, please, Woburn?
Every platform has a specific management and rule.
Can we have your summary, please, Woburn?
Yes.
Esteemed opponents, throughout this debate, you have presented compelling arguments in favor of holding social media platforms legally accountable for cyberbullying. Allow me to address some key points raised by the opposition. Opponents may argue that enforcing legal accountability places undue burden on social media platforms. However, it is essential to recognize that these platforms already wield significant influence over public discourse and must accept responsibility for the consequences of their services. Furthermore, opponents may claim that enforcing penalties would stifle free speech. However, we emphasize that this motion does not aim to suppress legitimate expression, but rather to protect individuals from targeted harassment and abuse. In conclusion, legal accountability with penalties for failure to promptly remove offensive content is necessary to ensure the safety and well-being of users on social media platforms. By supporting this motion, we take a proactive step towards creating a safer online environment for everyone. We urge you to uphold justice and fairness by voting in favor of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Woburn. Lawn. Seaside, your summary?
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, and esteemed opponents, a pleasant afternoon. As we conclude our position, I will address the arguments made by the proposition and reinforce why holding social media platforms legally accountable for cyberbullying is not the right approach. First, let's tackle the issue of moral responsibility. While it is true that social media platforms have a role in fostering a safe online environment, legal accountability is not the only way to achieve this. Platforms can implement robust community lines, invest in educational initiatives, and collaborate with mental health organizations to address cyberbullying effectively without the threat of legal penalties. Encouraging responsible behavior and creating supportive environments are more sustainable solutions. Technology can be harnessed to monitor and remove offensive content. However, automated systems are far from perfect and often lack the ability to understand context. Human moderators, while essential, cannot feasibly handle the volume of content on these platforms. This could lead to either excessive censorship or inadequate protection, neither of which is desirable. Moreover, the proposition suggests that holding platforms accountable levels the playing field. But shifting the burden from individual perpetrators to platforms does not address the root cause of cyberbullying. It risks creating a culture where individuals feel less responsible for their actions online, relying instead on platforms to police behavior. Res- re- Personal accountability and social education is crucial for long-term change. Transparency is vital. However, imposing legal liabilities is not the way to achieve it. Encouraging voluntary transparency through industry standards and self-regulation can lead to more flexible and adaptive responses to emerging issues without the rigidity of legal constraints. Legal penalties might deter platforms from hosting diverse content and engaging users in meaningful discussion for fear of legal repercussions. This could lead to a homogenized online space where only the least controversial content is allowed, stifling creativity and genuine expression.
Thank you very much, Seaside third speaker. You'll both be front and center while the judges deliberate. So you're both on camera, yes? Okay, welcome back. So the judges have deliberated. Let me go front and center. Right, so the judges have deliberated. Wow, what a debate. I thank you for an exciting debate. I'm going to allow, well, I'll make some comments and then Mr. Gardner will make some comments. And shall I announce the scores right after? All right, just to say, Woburn Lawn, I think that we should be looking at both teams while I make these comments because I want to see the expression on their faces. So we'll put the teams front and center so that the viewers get a chance to see the expression on your faces while we're making the comments. I think that your faces are better for the camera light anyway. Okay, so I felt that the definitions were a bit weak all around, but there was a bigger onus on the proponents to define the terms of the move better. Now, the particular term that I'm referring to is cyberbullying. I don't think we ever got down to exactly what bullying is or how cyberbullying can affect young people. And I think that had Woburn Lawn introduced that to the debate, it would have given the judges an emotional reason to support Woburn Lawn's argument. So emotions were important, I believe, and no emotions, no stories of how cyberbullying might have affected one of your colleagues. So I felt that weakness affected your ability to steer the rest of the debate, Woburn. Also, um, I felt in the question answer round, Woburn, that you were asking questions that sounded more like questions that should probably be coming from the opponents because you were technically asking Seaside to make your argument, so to speak. If you misunderstand what I'm saying, tell me. Okay, so the in terms of arguments though, I felt that some very strong arguments came from Seaside, and with Seaside it was argument after argument after argument. We heard about algorithm, and we heard about how culture could affect the algorithm, and being international, people have different cultures, so different countries will have their different understanding of what bullying is, and therefore it would be difficult to have an international company set one rule for all. So that was understood. The business thing was understood. It is so true. I must tell you, some of your arguments swung me because coming into the debate, I was of the view that social media companies should be held liable. I still have that view lightly. But then I'm thinking about one of the arguments in particular. A small man who set up a social media company, where would he find the type of money to police his page in the same type of way that Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, is able to police his? So that I felt that was a valid point. You could end up squeezing the smaller man out of the industry. And so I felt that stronger arguments came in terms of individual responsibility. I felt that that was a strong argument from Seaside that the individual would feel a less sense of responsibility if the social media company is to blame, and therefore you could end up with more instances of cyberbullying. Now, all of those good arguments came from Seaside, and none of them were rebutted properly by Woburn Law. None were challenging the questions, and none was mentioned in the rebuttal. So that was my position, the overall argument. I'll share my position. I'll share what the points are when after Mr. Gardner speaks. Mr. Gardner, your comments on the debate, sir.
Afternoon again, schools. It was an amazing time just to watch you guys argue your point. I can say that myself and Oren were both George.
Yeah, a little more volume, please, Mr. Gardner.
Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, you're clear now.
All right. I was just saying to reiterate what you were saying, or that some of the points were valid points, but I really believe that the internet issue had us in oblivion for a minute. But good match, I would say. In future, try to give conclusive motions. Be very clear as to what you're saying, and try to always have a conversation with your teammate before you make an answer. It's always integral to speak to each other, make sure that you're on the same page when you're responding, and deliver well. Opposing teams, you'll always have different ideas because you're not, none of you are wrong, right? So basically always make sure that the deliberation is just always prestige, but well done, team. Well done.
Thank you. So in terms of the points, which is what we're all waiting to hear. So in terms of the points, right? The scores are as follows. We felt that the better team today walked away with more points. Obviously, we've got 17, 16, 12, and 17 points for Woburn Lawn. If anybody can do some quick maths, that should be 14 and 8, 22, which is 62. And for Seaside, so that's 62 to clarify. For Seaside, your percent was 20 for the first speaker, 20 for the second speaker, 13 for your whip round, and 21 for the rebuttal round. And so that's 61 plus 13, which is 74. So it's 62 to 74 in terms of points for Seaside. And in terms of best speaker, based on points, the best speaker would be Seaside's third speaker. But again, it was an excellent, as always, Woburn Lawn performed very well. Commendations are in order for Woburn Lawn's third speaker. And the first speaker mustn't feel too bad. The fall off was more in the, as I've said, the definition and the laying the ground for what Woburn had to do. We felt that the definitions were probably a bit weak, and as Mr. Gardner said, ensuring that everyone understood the moot and what your position on the moot was, that wasn't really there in the first speaker's presentation. The comments, you want to make any comments, Miss? The teachers, Seaside, you first. Now let's let Woburn go first because Woburn, you first.
It was a good match, Seaside. Nice playing you. Hi, coach, judges. Good afternoon. It was a great match, and I do accept most of the comments because I do some of the same sentiments with my team while we were on break.
Okay, but excellent match though, miss. So thank you. I can't wait to see how Woburn develops at the end of this. And I know that we should expect great things from Woburn moving forward. Seaside, your turn. Your comments, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I too think that it was a good match. And thumbs up to Woburn. You really kept the question and answer session going. We have work to do. And as usual, I'm grateful for the opportunity to enlighten our students. Thanks again.
Thank you very, very much, Miss. And just a quick comment in the 1 minute, just a 1 minute comment. And thank you for joining us, Mr. Lewis. We're glad to have you here. But a quick 1 minute comment for both teams. I'm going to put both teams front and center again so that the public can see your reaction. This moot that you did today is about cyberbullying, and we want you to both understand what cyberbullying is. If somebody calling you ugly on internet, somebody sharing all type of nasty things about you on internet, that is what cyberbullying is. And on reflection, I really believe it is just a copy of what happens in school. So it is the same bullying that happens in school that we now move into the internet. And you must watch out for it. You mustn't tolerate it. And you must ensure that you're not participating in it in any type of way. Although we have such angels in CThink that I'm sure that they're not. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. And Woburn, congrats, great schools. We'll see how we can assist with that. You'll stand by and you'll hear. Your last best speaker, Seaside, let us hear more about her and congratulate her for us for passing her PEP, doing well in her PEP. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, they're grade 5 students. Scaring me.
I know the scores.
Or internet learn.
But we won because I didn't get successful.
Yeah.